How to match your learning style to your study technique. No two learners are the same. While some students might struggle to study in solitude, others might thrive on the independence. Where one student can't sit still in class, another might need that structure to get their work done. There are, in fact, 7 common learning styles. So what can you do to make the most of yours? We've put together an explanation of the 7 most common learning types and our advice on how to create your ideal study environment. Don't forget to complete the Learning Styles assessment on Major Clarity as an additional resource. Oral and auditory learners. Oral learners work best with sounds and music. They tend to do well in the classroom because they have great listening skills. These learners can often be seen humming or tapping out the rhythm to a song while they concentrate. They also tend to know all their favorite lyrics by heart and all the themes from their favorite TV shows. At school, oral learners may play musical instruments, write songs, or sing with a choir. If this sounds like you could use sounds, rhyming, or music to aid your learning or memorization process. Try finding a study soundtrack that you can use each time you sit down at your desk to get in the mood. You could also set facts or quotes you need to remember to music, write songs, or just tunes to memorize your way through a topic. Another trick is to create mnemonics or acrostic poems. Verbal or linguistic learners. A verbal style of learning involves reading, writing, and speech. For verbal learners, the textbook is a friend. They learn best from putting their thoughts down on paper or getting them out in a lively debate. They are expressive and articulate types who love tongue twisters, books, poems, and discussions with friends. At school, verbal learners might be involved in public speaking, writing, or student journalism. If you're a verbal learner, try reading your notes aloud and use repetition to memorize key facts. Make sure you make your reading dramatic and varied in tone. Better still, get yourself an audience. A lively and energetic speech will make it easier to recall details later on. You could also try recording yourself running through lists of information or working through a complicated theory or topic. Just listen back to the recording later for revision. Physical or kinesthetic learners. Physical learners often have a hard time in traditional classrooms. When learning new skills or topics, they'd rather jump in straight away. They tend to fidget through lectures and get frustrated with sitting still. Physical learners have their best ideas while being active. If someone is bothering this type of student, they often find a walk or run is enough to clear their head. At school, physical learners are usually involved in sports, drama, or dancing. For physical learners, I'd recommend staying active throughout periods of study. This can involve drawing diagrams, creating revision cards, which you can take with you on the move, and taking short walks or runs to process information. You could also use visualization to animate whatever you might be studying. For example, imagine your way through the physical actions of a chemistry experiment. Visual learners. Visual learners use pictures, colors, and maps to organize and memorize information. These learners do best in the classroom when the whiteboard is in use, and they tend to have beautiful revision notes. Visual types are also often great dressers with a clear idea of what colors and patterns work together. At school, visual learners usually gravitate toward activities like photography, art, and design. If this sounds like you, you're going to need to invest in some good stationery. You'll need bright paper, colorful sticky notes, and pens in every color of the rainbow. Spend time on your revision notes and make sure they're a useful visual tool. Color-coding information, making visual connections between topics, mind mapping, forming visual journeys through new topics or timelines. These are just some of the techniques a learner like you could use. Logical or numerical learners. Students who have a logical learning style are organized and manage their time effectively. They usually have a flair for mathematics, recognizing patterns, and they are capable of performing complex calculations in their head. These learners work through problems systematically, setting themselves to-do lists and targets. They also tend to enjoy video games that allow them to practice strategy and problem solving. In school, logical learners might be involved in math, robotics, or computers. If you think you're a logical learner, you'll probably already know what works for you. Write lists, categorize information, make connections, and work through your study material in a consistent and organized manner. But try to resist the temptation to memorize the bare minimum. While you study, use your class notes and push yourself to explore further, find new links, understand what surrounds the content. This way, you'll have an easier time remembering the material, and you'll have that extra level of knowledge you need to push up your grades. Solitary learners. Solitary learners are introspective, independent, and very self-aware. These learners usually have a high level of concentration and spend time questioning themselves, analyzing their thoughts, opinions, actions. Through developing a deep understanding of themselves, these learners are confident in their ability and don't usually require much teacher support. At school, they're likely to be reading, painting, or studying. If you're a solitary learner, your first impulse will already be to retreat and manage your studying on your own. That's okay as long as in class you give your teacher your full attention and try to contribute to discussions as much as possible. In your own study time, try to generate some personal interest in your topics. Make them important to you by finding characters you can relate to or a theory you agree with. Use your empathetic skills to connect to your study material. Learners who thrive in social settings. Learners with a strong social style tend to be excellent communicators, both verbally and non-verbally. They're sensitive to other people's views, great listeners, and usually quite outspoken in class. These learners are in their element in group discussion-based lessons, where they get the chance to bounce off other people and offer their opinions. In school, social learners prefer team activities like football, basketball, or hockey. If this sounds like you, it's obvious that you do best when working alongside other people. Try forming your own study group. You don't all need to be from the same class. You could even approach one topic from each of your different standpoints. For example, get English students, mathematicians, scientists, and historians to discuss the impact of technology. You'll thrive from the company and gain some new perspectives, which will add context to your own studies. I'm Alex, thanking you for listening to this educational video produced by Corolla Schultz.